I can't believe this. But I wasn't about to let this one slip away like the Wonder Woman. 1940 Superman. Yes. Let's talk about it. A while ago, I bought a Superpowers Superman from the McFarlane toy line. Why? Because it was Flesher Superman costume. 1940s Superman. My favorite costume in the history of Superman. Ever. It is the costume I like the absolute most. I'm drawn to it, literally. I just think it's fantastic. I love the emblem, I love the S, I love the little yellow outline, I love the length of the cape, I love the red boots, I love that it's a bit of a darker blue, I love the body type for the Superman. Everything about it is fantastic. For what it's worth, I know I'm not alone in that opinion. And the reason I know that is because years later, they would bring this suit back for Kingdom Come. Now, I know it's not exactly this suit, but it pretty much is. Like, the red S, the black background, the yellow outline, the darker blues, the deep reds. An older Superman carrying almost that exact body type. That's what it is. Then, we saw this suit 2 more times that I am aware of so far. Aside from the fact that the Kingdom Come Superman and the other Earth Superman that still kind of wears this suit would tend to show up in things like the Justice Society and whatnot for a little while there. So, I mean that. But 2 more times that I definitively remember when they started the Superman Superman and Lois series. The one on HBO Max, I believe. Like the very first episode, he wears a variant of that suit. And when they brought back Brandon Rolfe, they pretty much did a modern update variant of that suit. I am by far not the only person that has an attachment to the Flesher Superman cartoons and the 1940s costume. It is my favorite. Without question, it is. I grew up with these cartoons. This costume flashes in my mind when I think Superman. Aside from one other era. And that's probably late 80s, very early 90s. That era of Superman costume, I also enjoy that very, very much. Not the mullet. No. So those are the 2 Superman that I absolutely love the most. And I am currently attempting to build some Justice Society for the shelf. I have Power Girl. She turned out absolutely fantastic. I have Commander Steel. I have Atom Smasher. I am looking for an Alan Scott and a Jay Garrick. I have found both of them, but I have yet to procure them. And here, I also have an older Batman that kind of fits a Justice Society kind of feeling. They just released a Dr. Fate that looks absolutely fantastic. Here's a Superman for it. These are cool. Like, the idea that they're just... This is one of the things that scares me about knowing that, or rather, as it stands right now, it sounds like we are going to lose the DC Multiverse line, McFarlane Toys, and gain a new line from Mattel. Do we have to start all over? And are we done digging through archives? Because that's what we're doing right now with this line, is we are bringing archives in. And seeing stuff like this gives me hope for some of the coolest ideas. Like, I bought the 80s Batman. I bought the 89 Batman. The Michael Keaton Batman. He's on the way. We got a Christopher Reeve Superman. We got Nightfall Batman. We got an Adam West Batman. We got an old Batman, like a classic Batman, Golden Age, with Ace the Bat-Hound. We got a first appearance Batman. I mean, we are digging deep in this line. We are at the point where just stuff is happening that you never would have believed. And I thought, with us digging through the deep archives, we were coming up on some amazing. I was crossing my fingers for a Linda Carter Wonder Woman. Maybe a classic Wonder Woman, like a first appearance, still wearing the skirt Wonder Woman. That would have been cool. I don't know what's coming. But you better believe I'm going to enjoy what's here right now. They're about to release that Kingdom Come Superman in the McFarlane line. I'm going to hopefully jump on that as fast as I did this. I wanted this. And I missed out on the Wonder Woman, and I wasn't going to miss out on this. I went out of my way to make sure I got one of these. There's not much else I could say here, guys. I'm just absolutely thrilled. You want to know why? You want to answer the question why some people collect? It's this. It's a small, tangible part of your own history. That's what it is for me. I've said this before, and I'll do a video specifically about this so I can start referencing a direct video. Everything on this shelf has a story. Every single item. There is a reason, a real reason why I collect, why we collect. Everything in here is attached to my history, my likes, my wants, my interests, my desires in some way. This room is a museum to me and my life. You want to know the history of me? You want to understand where my thought patterns are, why I think the way I do, what forms my personality? It's all in here. Every single item has a story. And if it doesn't, if I've outlived that story, outgrown that story, or it simply no longer matters to me, it's got to go. And there are certain things about this. Like, I own the Flesher cartoons. I have them. I bought them on DVD. And then I bought them on Blu-ray. Twice, if you want to get technical. Because I bought the Superman collection that came with them all. On Blu-ray. Blu-ray Flesher cartoons. I've watched every single one of those multiple times. I've read hundreds of comic books, of course. A comic book, you read it, you put it in a box, you put it on a shelf. It's done. It's done. A movie, you watch it, you put it on a shelf. It's done. But there is something tangible about figures. This, we're going to open it. It's going to go on the shelf. And it is a 3D, tangible, tactile thing that draws back to a very specific memory and time. And anytime I want, I can come in this room, sit down, look at them, pick them up, pose them, set up action sequences, take photography, and relive small portions of my life. There is a deep connection to some of this stuff. This was one I could not pass up. And I was very, very happy that I got one. Because I have missed other figures throughout the years that I simply could not get. That's the game. Sometimes we won't get everything. Sometimes we got to be very happy with the parts, with the pieces we've been able to collect. Because the market isn't infinite. Well, I got it. I'm thrilled. It's my favorite Superman ever on the shelf, alongside some of my favorite superheroes and other supermen ever on the shelf. Let's open this. Coming with no flight stand, more up to date than the Action Comics body, the envy of two dumb-faced Skeletors. He's amazing! Superman. Holy crap, that is good. Guys, I could gush about this all night. But I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. Guys, he comes with these two expression hands, or flight hands if you'd like to call them that. He, of course, strikes this amazing pose. He has the closed eyes, because if you remember right, all they did back in those old cartoons where they just kind of put the slits there. I love that effect, by the way. He's got that hard swoosh in the hair. The absolute, like, oh, look at that. Look at that right there. We don't have an S on the cape, but back then, I don't seem to remember there being one. And if there was one, then I am not recalling it, because this is what I remember. The boots are fine. Of course, he has pins. He's a McFarlane figure, but he's an up-to-date McFarlane figure. Everything I'm seeing here is literally perfect. I mean, he has all the movement you could want him to have. This is unbelievable. This is what I wanted. That's simple. Cape. The belt. The paint job. It's all right here. We have a wired cape. We have a decent paint job. He came at the standard price. We have my favorite S. We have an absolute fantastic head sculpt. The body is up to date in the McFarlane line, which is actually important because when they released the other Superman, as I said, he didn't have up-to-date features. He was very much, they re-released Action Superman and just put a different cape on him. And I think they may have altered the head sculpt, I can't remember. But the point of it is, he wasn't perfect, okay? Like, he wasn't like one of the modern sculpts. Like, Christopher is a modern sculpt. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's actually important because some of the stuff that we've had in the line recently has been fantastic modern sculpts. And I'm curious, I'm going to get up here and walk over here. I think I just kicked the camera. How does she stack up to him? Because he is bigger than the Action Comics Superman. You know what? She's a little forward than him, so this might be a little bit off. Her hair does this bob and comes up. She may be the tiniest bit bigger than him. It's very possible, but I don't know if this bothers me. I really don't. Because also, this Superman in one of the comics I can remember, this Superman standing in front of Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman was about a head bigger than him. And I've seen comic books where she fights Wonder Woman, or teams up with Wonder Woman, and she's easily as tall as Wonder Woman. So, like, I still don't think this bothers me. I think this works for me, personally. I don't hate this at all. She can be as big as Superman, and I'm fine with it. This is fine. bringing in a Flash to stand next to him. He's smaller. Not by much, but he's smaller. If we bring my favorite Batman down here, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I like him standing next to some people. This is very simple. Okay? This is very simple. This part of the video, I'm not going crazy. I wanted a flight stand. McFarlane, this is the guy that started Superman flying. Okay? What are you doing? Like, he is literally the reason Superman flies. Like, I remember hearing the story that they were animating him and he was jumping all around and it was kind of difficult to animate and it was also a little goofy looking. So they made a call and they were like, hey, can he just like fly? And I remember hearing this in a couple different interviews, and DC basically said, yeah, that's fine, because you just made big important decisions like that with your comic books back then. Look, we're having a little trouble with the way that he animates and whatnot. Would it be easier if he could just fly? Yeah, he can fly. Done. The Superman flies now. Like, oh my gosh. This is it, guys. And I don't care how simple this video is. I'm sure people wanted to show me, I'm sure people wanted me to show you him flying and stuff like that. Well, okay. So, there he is. He flies. You want to turn the legs and everything? You want to get that pose? You want to go up there into the sky and everything like that? You want this hand instead so we can reach up to the sky? That's fine. We could do all that. But look, guys, I don't have to sit here and show you every movement that this Superman can make. I don't have to, because in all honesty, this is also already on my list for my top 10 figures of the year. That is 2 McFarlanes on the list right now. If I was to set up a top 10 list right now, I have Flesher Superman, 1940 Superman. He looks absolutely fantastic. He's exactly what I wanted him to be. I have Power Girl. That's 2 figures already, start of the year, 2 top 10s. And I don't know what's coming. We're still early in the year. And I have 2 favorites. 2 all-time favorites, by the way. You know, that's another thing about this hobby that's kind of wild. It's not about value. I hear that a lot. Like, I hear it a lot. I always hear, and I even get this question like, what's the most expensive figure in your collection? Who cares? Like, and I'm being very, very 100% here about that. Who cares? Why should you care? Why should anybody care? If the point of all of this is monetary, I'm lost. I don't understand it. I have more passion for the things in my life that brought me happiness than, does that figure cost over $100? Is that statue $1,000? Who cares? Like, this right here, this simple thing right here, is in the 20 to 30 range. And I have spent money on figures literally in the $80 to $120 range that did not give me the feeling I got simply from taking him out of the package. This should never be about value. This guy proves it. Like, this figure is amazing. Like, it works, man. It works on every single level I can think of. He moves fairly well. He looks fantastic. He's sculpted well. The body works. The cape has that strong wire. I mean, it's a fairly good wire in there even. So you'll have no problem whatsoever setting up all kinds of shots. Should have come with a flight stand. I'm not going to let that go. At this point, every single figure from McFarlane that flies should come with a flight stand. If it doesn't, he has messed up. If that is not already a rule in his toys, he has messed up. Because I know you got him now. Action Comics Superman came with a flight stand. Christopher Reeve came with a flight stand. Why didn't he? Why doesn't Fire? Why don't the Green Lanterns? It's not even an expensive flight stand. If you got to add $3 to the price of your figures or whatever, do it. It'd be better than the little circular disc things that you give out anyways. So, but you know what? If that's all I've got to complain about, then this is one of the best figures I own. I'm not even kidding. I want to be honest. It has been a pretty rough year for me so far. I don't talk a whole lot of personal on these videos, but it has been a pretty rough year for me so far. It really has. And getting these absolute standouts has just been what I need. Like, it's so good. And we're just starting. We are just starting. And I'm not even talking about starting the year. There's a lot coming. But we're just starting in terms of things that I have right now that I'm ready to open. I am doing video after video after video after video. I got a lot coming down the pipeline. A lot of simple figures, a lot of cool figures, a lot of complicated figures, a lot of big stuff, a lot of small stuff, a lot of stuff to talk about, and a lot of topics hopefully as well. I'm geared up for what it's worth. And we got so much coming out and so much on the horizon that we haven't even touched yet. Hopefully, as things even out across this year, it just gets better and better. And if it doesn't, at least we got this Superman. I can't believe it. I mean, I went from absolutely detesting the Supermans in this line. I mean, I hated him. I hate almost every single Superman that he released in his entire line. Either the capes do something that I don't like, or the face isn't quite right, or the body doesn't sit well with me, or the boots aren't quite right, or the coloring feels off, or like the facial expression makes me not want it. I'm talking Superman after Superman after Superman. And then all of a sudden, like rapid fire, they were like, hey, here's Action Comics Superman. I'm like, okay, I'm down for that. Give me that. And then like, here's Christopher Reeve Superman. I'm like, oh, yes, absolutely. And they're like, here's Fleischer Superman. I'm like, dang, yes. And now we got another Superman on the way because we have the Kingdom Come Superman. Basically an older version of this one. You know what? If the line is over, I personally feel like he's ending on a strong note. Could we wish anything less? Could we wish anything more? I mean, really, every single one of these toy lines is susceptible to being done at some point. It is what it is. We've watched it. We've all been here long enough to see it. Well, most of us, to be fair. We've collected Star Wars over the years, and every time a line dies off, a new one takes its place. Some better than others, some worse than others. Rangers is the same story. DC is the same story. The only thing I could think of that's been consistent for like the last 20 years is Marvel Legends. He-Man came and went. Turtles came and went. And then came again and went, came again and went. And that's the truth for almost every single toy line on the shelf, every single toy line that exists. Some of them are one-offs. Some of them are just constant state of rebirths as the license get passed around and around and around. But if your toy line has to end, go out on a high note. If nothing else, he's doing that. I can't hate that. Later on.
I have will from it.